Hey there! So, would you rather stick pins in your eyes than put yourself out there to sell your products? Now, you might be an introvert like me, which means finding the confidence to sell doesn't come easily to you. Or you might find the thought of launching your programs or your products with huge fanfares energetically draining. But you have to put yourselves out there and sell if you want to grow your business. So how do we do that if we hate conventional selling? So this week I'm sticking to a similar theme as my last video where I talked about overcoming objections to sell your high ticket offers. So in this week's video, I'm going to talk about reframing your mindset around selling. Now, I tried for many years to be someone else whilst I was launching and selling. I tried to follow the extroverts and follow their selling styles. And for me, it was exhausting and I felt sick when I had to face my selling fears. And doing that repeatedly didn't take away my fear of selling. So nowadays, I'm a great believer in walking in my strengths as an introvert entrepreneur. So when I sell, I have learned how to do that without compromising those special qualities I have inside myself that make me successful. So I'm able to reframe my fears so I can authentically sell as me. And that's what we're going to talk about today, so you can do that too. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm Lauren Bradley, I'm author of Grow Your Tribe, and I'm a business strategist and introvert entrepreneur, and I show women in business smart ways to escape the feast or famine trap by working smarter, not harder. So if you want my weekly tips on how to grow your business, hit subscribe and give me a like to let me know that you've watched my video. Okay, so let's get going. So how does the idea of selling make you feel? Now, I know for many of you, it's enough to fill you with dread, and the image many of us have of selling isn't a positive one. But you know as well as I do that the ability to sell is something that you're going to have to learn if you want your business to grow. And the good news is over time, this is something you can master. It just takes time and making some changes to your mindset. Now, I'm going to take you through 5 things I reframed to help me get over my fear of selling. And I think these are going to help you too. So the first one is focus on serving and not selling. So you're going to need to approach selling from a completely different angle. And for me, the women entrepreneurs who trust and invest in me are everything. And when their business grows from working with me, every time I see them shine, it makes my entire business journey worthwhile. So when I seek new clients to work with, I remember that feeling and I approach every conversation or engagement with a potential client with a heartfelt attitude of how can I serve you so I can change your life for the better. And I believe the main reason for people hating selling or being sold to is they see the process as something coercive or manipulative. And for many businesses, that's exactly how it is. But you're watching this video because you don't want to do that, right? And I've discovered in my own experiences that there's no need to try to forcefully convince someone to buy something. But if you have an offering that's actually helpful and solves a real problem or a need, and you're coming at this with the mindset of service, then there's no manipulation involved. You're actually selling without selling. Okay, so my next tip is be the go-to expert for your thing. And what people may be saying about you and your business and what you want them to know you for may not actually be the same thing. And to sell without selling, it's important to get that spot on and be known as the go-to expert in that thing that you do. And once you have those two perceptions aligned, you'll be increasing your chances of being that first person that springs into your ideal client's mind when they're considering where to invest. So if you find that what your audience knows you for and what you think you're known for are two different things, then you need to ask yourself, is what I'm known for right now contributing to the success of my business? And this same thing tripped me up in the past when I was teaching women how to start a business online. And I diluted my message by adding new income streams into my business model. And my students were frequently asking me if I could recommend copywriting services. So I kind of thought to myself it would be a great revenue generating opportunity to offer copywriting services as part of my online business offerings. And you know what that did? Well, it totally confused my potential customers. So if you think about it from their point of view, I was an expert in business strategy, Or was I a copywriter trying to teach people how to be brilliant in business? And that confusing mistake affected my sales conversion rates. So I took the decision to be known for one thing, and that's for being brilliant in strategy and teaching business. So what are you known for, and what are you the go-to expert for? And this is going to make your path to selling without selling much easier. Okay, know your strengths. I'm not going to focus on this too much in this video, as I've already created another video on tapping into your strengths over here. So when it comes to selling without selling, in my experience, it's always served me well to focus on where I'm strong, regardless of what my similar competitors are doing. So for example, if you're an introvert mindset coach and you balk at the idea of running an intensive live challenge for 5 days in order to sign people into your program, then don't do it. Instead, find a launch strategy that works to your strengths and then double down on that. Don't try to be something or someone that you're not. And when we work to our strengths, we naturally become more interesting to our audience and we're more confident. And that feeling of being strong plays a huge part in being successful selling without selling. And it's a really attractive quality. Okay, hand up. Who's been sold to by someone who just won't shut the fuck up? And that leads me onto my next tip, and that's just listen. So another reason we hate selling and being sold to is that it feels pushy and invasive. And the typical image we all have of the salesperson is someone who's talking a mile a minute and overwhelming their target until they give in and buy. Actually, if you want to be a confident seller, you need to be a good listener. And this is going to be easier for us introverts because we're naturally better listeners. And what you're trying to do here is getting to the hearts and minds of your potential customer and understand their needs. And I have another video which will help you to identify your ideal paying customer over here. And don't forget my earlier tip. You're also coming at the conversation with them from the angle of how you can serve them better. Okay, moving on to my next tip. I've never been able to sell without building this first, and that's know, like, and trust with my audience. And when you combine know, like, and trust, then you build quite a special connection with your potential customer. And I like to take time to work out what I can do to make it easier for people to get to know me. Then secondly, I work out what people like about me. And these are all the elements I have integrated into my personal brand. And thirdly, I do the same with trust. How do I build their trust in me? So work out what you need to do to build know, like, and trust. And when you're the go-to person in your subject, you're serving and you're playing to your strengths, then what you're naturally going to do is build a tribe of loyal followers who will ultimately become loyal customers. And it's much easier to sell when you've built know, like, and trust. But building know, like, and trust takes time and effort. You need to put the work in for the results. But it's worth it. And now for my last tip, build your confidence in rejection. And I think one of the reasons many of us hate selling is that fear of putting ourselves out there and hearing a rejection. And that's because of that one word, no. I'll be honest, I get it, rejection hurts. And even when you know it's not really a rejection of you, it can still hurt when you've gone to great lengths to explain your offering and you hear a no. So in my other video, Tips to Overcome Sales Objections, I talk about how you can reduce the likelihood of getting a no in the first place. Now, there are many things you can do to build up confidence. And in my experience, confidence grows through building knowledge, being prepared, and from life's experiences. And you're not going to like this, but the more no's you hear, the less it affects you. But you can also build your confidence by understanding your offering, how it genuinely helps your ideal paying customer. So if you know the value and the transformational benefits of your offering, then you can better communicate this to people. So that's my top 5 tips that have worked for me. So if there's more topics you'd like me to cover in my future videos, then let me know in the comments below.